If you truly want to change your life, learn the discipline of silence. In a world where everyone is shouting, tweeting, posting, and reacting, silence becomes a form of rebellion. Not a passive one, but an intelligent, powerful stand against noise. Most people think power comes from being the loudest voice in the room. But in reality, real power comes from the individual who doesn't feel the need to speak unless it adds value. That person, the one who can remain calm while others are burning their energy trying to be heard. That person is dangerous in the best way. Not because they are aggressive, but because they are in control. They have mastered something most never will themselves. The majority of people are addicted to attention, whether they admit it or not. They need validation to feel valuable. So they speak constantly, overshare, argue, defend, react, and try to prove their worth with words. But the person who chooses silence doesn't need approval. They already have clarity. They've chosen to be led by vision, not noise. They've learned that responding to everything, having an opinion on every topic, being triggered by every insult, all of that is weakness disguised as personality. Silence is not a lack of communication. It's often the highest form of it. It's not avoidance. It's awareness. The silent mind is where thought matures. It's where your ideas refine themselves before they're shared. When you're quiet, you stop broadcasting and you start receiving. You hear the patterns in people's speech. You see the spaces between their words. You observe, you listen, you detect agendas and masks. You feel energy, the kind that can't be masked with charm or clever language. You start to see beyond what's said and into what's meant. People ask, but what if they misunderstand me? Let them. If your life is built around explaining yourself, defending your intentions, or correcting other people's perceptions, you'll spend your entire life putting out fires that weren't meant to burn you. You're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to be aligned. And alignment doesn't require explanation. It only requires clarity within yourself. The more you explain, the more you invite confusion. But when you embody what you believe, no explanation is necessary. Now, I know the ego doesn't like silence. It wants to be right. It wants to prove. It wants applause. But the higher self, it craves peace. It thrives in stillness. It doesn't need to prove anything, because it knows what it is. And once you reach that level of knowing, once your sense of identity is rooted within, not projected outward, silence becomes effortless. It becomes natural. And ironically, that's when people begin to notice you more. You don't have to chase attention anymore. Your energy speaks. Your presence becomes your voice. Think about the people you respect most. Are they the loudest in the room, or the ones who speak with purpose? Are they reactive, or do they move with calm intention? The most powerful individuals in history, from philosophers to entrepreneurs to revolutionaries, mastered the art of measured words. They weren't loud. They were precise. They knew when to speak and when to hold back, because words carry energy. And when you understand that, you stop wasting them on people or situations that don't deserve them. Silence is also where you meet yourself, and this is important because most people don't even know who they are without the noise. The moment they're alone, they panic. They reach for distractions, music, messages, TV, drama, anything to fill the void. But it's not a void, it's a mirror, and they're afraid of what they'll see. But if you want to grow, really grow, you must face that mirror. You must sit with the thoughts you've been avoiding. You must ask yourself, who am I when no one's watching? Who am I without the roles I play? What do I believe? What do I value? What do I fear? And you can only answer those questions in silence. It's in that quiet space that you begin to separate yourself from the identity that was constructed by the world, the labels, the expectations, the cultural programming. You begin to dissolve what no longer serves you. And in that dissolution, you create room for something new, something real. That's the beginning of transformation. But transformation doesn't happen when you're reacting. It happens when you're reflecting. And reflection demands stillness. People will tell you to speak your truth, and that has value when your truth is rooted in wisdom. But not every thought deserves to be spoken. Not every feeling needs to be processed out loud. Not every conflict is worth engaging. Sometimes your silence is your response. Sometimes the most profound statement you can make is no statement at all. Because when you stop talking, others are forced to listen. Not just to you, but to themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror for them too. Now here's where it gets deeper. When you stop reacting, you stop leaking energy. And when you stop leaking energy, you begin storing power. That's when things begin to shift. That's when life starts working for you, not against you. Because you're no longer wasting your time and energy on distractions, arguments, opinions, or comparisons. You're focused, you're centered. And when you're centered, your actions carry weight. You don't need to do more. You need to be more. And silence helps you access that state of being. But don't confuse silence with suppression. This isn't about bottling up your emotions or avoiding confrontation. It's about responding from a place of awareness, not reaction. It's about pausing long enough to decide, does this deserve my energy? Is this worth my peace? Will speaking now elevate or deplete me? That pause, that micro moment of conscious choice, is what separates the reactive mind from the evolved one. Let others gossip. Let them argue. Let them explain, attack, perform. You stay rooted. You observe. You protect your peace like a sacred flame, because it is sacred. And once you start to experience the power that silence brings, the clarity, the confidence, the inner strength, you won't want to give it up for anything. You'll stop justifying yourself. You'll stop explaining your moves. You'll stop oversharing your plans. Instead, you'll move in silence and let results speak. There is incredible peace in becoming unbothered, not detached from life, but unattached to chaos. When you no longer feel the need to announce every move or to respond to every provocation, you gain time, energy, and focus. You become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be seen, but because you're doing the deep work most people avoid. Silence isn't weakness. It's discipline. It's restraint. And more than anything, it's strategy. Because in silence, you can listen to life. And life is always speaking, just not always in words. So if you really want to change your life, practice silence. Wake up early and sit with your thoughts before the world demands your attention. Pause before you speak and ask yourself if it's worth saying. Withhold opinions that don't serve you. Let your energy speak before your mouth does. Master your emotions so they no longer control your voice. And above all, don't fear the quiet. The quiet is where you meet your power. That power isn't loud. It doesn't beg to be seen. It doesn't scream for approval. It just is solid, calm, unshakable. And once you access that state, once you embody that level of self-awareness, the world around you begins to shift. People treat you differently. Opportunities begin to align. Chaos loses its grip, not because the world has changed, but because you have. And it all began the moment you chose silence over noise. Closing statement. The most powerful voice you'll ever hear is the one that speaks when you are silent. Listen to it, trust it, and watch how your life begins to change, not by force, but by quiet, undeniable presence. There's a strange idea out there that focusing on yourself is selfish, that prioritizing your own growth, your peace, your vision, somehow means you're neglecting others. Actually, that belief is not only misguided, it's dangerous. Because when you live to serve everyone else's expectations, you abandon the very foundation of success, self-mastery. The truth is simple. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot inspire others if you yourself are uninspired. You cannot love deeply if you don't love yourself first. And you will never lead, create, or build anything meaningful if you're constantly distracted by the noise of other people's lives. Focusing on yourself isn't arrogance. It's alignment. It's recognizing that the greatest contribution you can make to this world is to become the most disciplined, focused, and authentic version of you. Most people are outwardly busy but inwardly lost. They chase applause. They chase connection. They chase goals that were never truly theirs. And the reason they never feel fulfilled is because their life is being lived in reaction to the external. But nothing long-lasting, nothing meaningful is built from the outside in. It's built from the inside out. And that process begins the moment you choose to redirect your attention, not to the world, but to yourself. Now, I want to be cleared. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean isolating or becoming emotionally unavailable. It doesn't mean building walls or avoiding responsibility. It means stepping fully into your own development. It means asking hard questions. What am I here to do? What are my patterns? What are my weaknesses? What's been holding me back? And why have I tolerated it? It means getting honest with yourself. Most people don't want to do that. They'd rather distract themselves with other people's lives, other people's problems. It's easier to criticize than to create. It's easier to blame than to build. But no transformation happens in ease. All real change begins with confrontation, not with the world, but with yourself. When you focus on yourself, the game changes. You stop needing others to approve of your actions. You stop waiting for people to support your dreams. You stop looking for love in people who haven't even learned how to love themselves. Instead, you become the source of your motivation, the source of your direction, the source of your worth. And when you become the source, you no longer chase anything. You attract. That's the secret high performers know. That's what the grounded, calm, powerful individuals have figured out. They don't wake up trying to impress anyone. They wake up trying to improve themselves. They're not obsessed with attention. They're obsessed with growth. And that obsession, that relentless, quiet pursuit of progress, is what makes them magnetic. People are drawn to those who know who they are. Why? Because most people don't know who they are. So when they see someone with clarity, it stands out. It inspires. And that inspiration isn't forced, it's felt. That's the beauty of focusing on yourself. The better you become, the better the world around you becomes. Your relationships improve. Your habits elevate. Your income grows. Your peace deepens. Not because you manipulated any of it, but because you align with who you're meant to be. The universe responds to alignment, not effort alone. And that's where people go wrong. They think hard work alone will get them there, but it's not just about working hard. It's about working inward. You have to ask yourself, is the life I'm building aligned with the person I'm becoming? Or am I simply achieving goals that numb the fact that I've never looked within? The greatest illusion people live under is the belief that they have time to waste. Time to people please. Time to argue. Time to stay stuck. You don't. Every second you spend watering someone else's opinion is a second stolen from your potential. Every minute you spend chasing someone who doesn't see your value is a minute you could spend mastering your craft. Every hour you waste explaining yourself is an hour you could have been executing. When you focus on yourself, you reclaim that time. You reclaim your power. You begin to realize that everything you were waiting for, the respect, the clarity, the confidence, it was never out there. It was waiting for you to show up for yourself. And that's the shift. People often ask, how do I get people to respect me? The answer, start respecting yourself. Respect your boundaries. Respect your time. Respect your standards. Because the way you treat yourself teaches others how to treat you. If you tolerate disrespect from yourself in the form of procrastination, self-doubt, laziness, negative self-talk, then you'll tolerate it from others too. But if you hold yourself to a higher standard, the world will begin to reflect that back. Focusing on yourself requires discipline. It's not glamorous. It means waking up early when you'd rather sleep. It means staying home to study while your friends party. It means saying no to quick pleasures so you can say yes to long-term greatness. But what most people call sacrifice, successful people call strategy. You're not missing out, you're leveling up. And when you level up, the environment around you must change. Not might, must. That's not ego. That's energy. The moment you stop settling, everything that once relied on your lower version begins to fall away. Relationships shift. Habits shift. Conversations shift. And yes, it can feel lonely. But that loneliness, it's not punishment. It's preparation. Preparation for the new life that's forming around the new you. You see, people talk about becoming the best version of yourself like it's a buzzword. But the truth is, it's a shedding. It's a death of who you were. The insecure you. The reactive you. The people-pleasing you. That version has to die so the focused, disciplined, and purpose-driven version can be born. And that birth happens in silence, in solitude, in reflection, in self-focus. This is why I say, you don't need to chase anything. You don't need to force connections. You don't need to beg people to see you. Just build. Build yourself. Build your discipline. Build your habits. Build your mind. Build your value. And when you do, everything else will either rise to meet you or fall away. And in either way you win, because you're no longer controlled by the external. You're anchored within. Some will call you selfish. Let them. Some will misunderstand your silence. Let them. Some will walk away when you stop feeding their comfort. Let them. Your job isn't to make everyone comfortable. Your job is to evolve, to grow, to ascend. And that journey is personal. It's sacred. It's not up for debate. So the next time you find yourself drained, distracted, or doubting, pause. Ask yourself, where is my focus? Because wherever your focus is, your energy follows. And wherever your energy goes, your life grows. Focus on distractions and you'll build regret. Focus on validation and you'll build dependence. But focus on yourself. Relentlessly, quietly, unapologetically, and you'll build a life that doesn't need to be explained. It will speak for itself. Closing statement: when you stop trying to prove yourself to others and start proving yourself to yourself, life changes. Not gradually, profoundly. Focus on yourself. Stay silent. Let the results speak louder than your words ever could.